So we're moving on from the birth of coffee. The birth of coffee will probably stay on exhibition for another couple of years and then probably go overseas, and we're going to potentially refresh it, but I doubt the book will be reprinted. But Random House took an option on a second book, and they are interested in us doing chocolate. And we don't even know if we'll even publish with Random House again, because in 12 years, the publishing climate has changed dramatically. You know, it's gone from, Random House has gone from 48 floors in Manhattan down to 18 now. And interestingly enough, when I was in New York a year ago to talk to them about a fiction-based project that I'm writing called The Mercury Cycle, a speculative fiction project, I actually asked them about this project, and I said, okay, so we're 10 years later, how long, you know, when we pass our manuscript into you, when I get my photographs printed and Linda gets her words written, how long is it going to take you to get this book on the shelf? Anybody in the audience have any idea how long that process takes?
A year.
About a year. And actually they said, you know, 12 to 14 months. And you probably recognize that 12 to 14 months 10 years ago seemed like a reasonable amount of time. 12 to 14 months now is totally unreasonable. I mean, to be able to get something to print, you know, take that long. We don't want to stand around and wait for 12 to 14 months because, you know, the content is there and it's fresh and we want it out into the market. So we have to look at alternatives. Doesn't necessarily mean we'll self-publish, but it just means that, you know, we have to look at other alternatives for getting the work out there with publishers that can turn it around a lot faster or can work on it in a way that to make it practical. So we started to work on chocolate, on the birth of chocolate, and we'll just show you, these are photographs. You'll notice that most of these are in color. We did the birth of coffee in black and white, and the photographs are actually toned in coffee. We're not really sure how we're going to do this project, whether we're going to do some of it in color, or whether we're going to do it in black and white, or whether we're going to tone it. We're not sure yet, but we'll give you some sneak peeks. We've been to 3 countries. We've been to the Dominican Republic, to Trinidad and Tobago, and to Peru. And these are some of the areas that chocolate or cacao actually grow in. So that's what chocolate looks like on the tree. That's what cacao looks like. It's in these pods. They collect the pods, and there's Linda standing in front of a huge pile of those pods. So that's what a cacao pod looks like, and the farmers cut it out of the tree using this little stick, and it hits the ground, and then they cut it open, and that's sort of the beginning of, you know, what chocolate starts as. This stuff comes off on the outside, and, you know, there's a bean there, a cacao bean there that they roast and then use to make chocolate. These are sort of a typical scene of workers going to work in the morning. This is when they crack open the cacao pods, and you can see it. You can sort of see inside that bag. There's sort of the bean skin, or the mucilage they call it. When that stuff gets washed off or dried off, you know, the bean is there. You can see people sorting them, fermenting and sorting. I guess is that process. They put them in a tank for a couple of days, and then they take them out and sort them, and then they put them on these big drying platforms and dry them. And, you know, then they roast them and bag them. They put them into facilities like this where people sort them and then put them into bags like you see in the background. They sew them into bags and put them like that so that they can be shipped off to Nestle's or Hershey's or Godiva or whoever is going to use them to make whatever they're going to make. So that's sort of a sneak preview of what eventually the birth of chocolate will look like, or the kind of photographs we're looking for in the birth of chocolate. You see sort of it gets to the ultimate end, which is the cacao pod and chocolate bars and chocolate cakes. This is actually at a market in Peru.